Welcome to the Main Money Show, where Wall Street meets Main Street. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Jordan Main, president of Main Financial Group, as well as joined by Adam Freund, CRC at Main Financial Group. And to our viewers at home, we're going to blow the lid off of some retirement myths, if you will. Do you think you'll spend less in retirement? Do you think Social Security will cover all of your needs? We're going to do a deep dive into the real world of what retirement planning looks like for you at home. Well, Jordan, how are you today?
I'm excited to be here, as always. How about you?
Very blessed and excited to be here as well. And Adam, how are you?
If I was any better, I'd be tax-free and compounding. These are so bad.
Awesome.
I don't know where
but
you
I always look forward to each week, so I'm not sure what you're going to say. Like, what's he coming in with next?
I don't either.
I love it. That's the beauty of it. Well, I want to dive into today's show. Before I do, though, I want to talk about the locations. I mean, oh my gosh, every time we're together, there seems to be some additional information coming. So, Jordan, please share.
Yeah, in an earlier episode, we talked about expanding from 1 offices to 4.
Yep.
And now we're in the works and getting ready to open one over our 5th office in Rochester Hills. So we will have Brighton as our original location. We'll have Livonia, Northville. We'll have Bloomfield Hills. We'll have Troy. And now we'll have Rochester Hills. So we'll have 5 offices in Metro Detroit when 6 months ago we had 1. So we're experiencing some exciting growth.
We're taking over Detroit.
Oh, you totally are.
Oh,
It's
dominate
exciting.
the D.
Dominate the D.
That's right.
With the ripped report.
With the
ripped
that's
report.
right.
Oh,
That's
my
right.
goodness.
Ripping things to shreds. Okay, but I go on all day on that. But let's talk a little bit about today's show, because obviously there are so many myths and misconceptions of retirement, what it's going to look like. Oh, I'm going to spend less. Oh, I'm going to pay less taxes. Oh, my Social Security will cover everything. Oh, Medicare covers everything if I get sick. We're going to talk about that. But before we do, tell me a little bit about where your dream home looks like in retirement. What's your dream home setting?
She always throws these curveballs at us.
I know, it's fun.
Living at Jordan Main's house.
Well, and that would be located somewhere near the 7th hole at Pebble Beach.
Oh, boy. That is a dream
On 17 Mile Drive, that view, the course, the ocean, I think that would have to be a dream setting.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind overlooking a beautiful lake, but not on the lake. I don't want to deal with...
Snakes?
No, snakes don't bother me. I don't want to deal with the boaters and all that stuff. I want to be able to look at it and say how beautiful it is. So it doesn't matter where it's at. Maybe up north, but I'll come and stay at your house.
Well, wait a minute, right back at you. What do you think for you?
Yeah.
So I'm a little torn. Like, I love Sedona, Arizona. When we go there, there's just nothing else like it in the world. Then we talked a little bit about having a house on the lake, because I love the lake as well. We've talked about the mountains. Basically, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I
a little
know.
torn.
Which a lot of people out there are probably the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Cedar Point, that's where your house is going to be.
Right? Oh,
Oh,
my
no.
goodness. Back at the birthday game where it all began. No. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some common myths in retirement. Number 1, people automatically assume they're going to spend less. Why is that a myth? Spend less.
Well, I actually have a real $100 bill here, but because of inflation, it has shrunken. So what that really means is that it's going to take more dollars in retirement than you anticipate, right? Because inflation, we've only had a few periods in our as a life of a country where we've had stagnation or deflation. For the most part, inflation has averaged, the 100-year average is, I think, 3.2%.
Somewhere in there.
So that just means that the cost of eggs, the cost of milk, the cost of living goes up every year. We have to plan for that so that you can't just assume that Social Security is going to keep up. You can't assume that your investments are going to keep up.
Well, I think the inflation is a great point, but I think the biggest thing is it's a myth. It really is. 50 years ago, it was accurate. Yeah. You would work at least in Detroit here, at Ford's or with an S, or
the S.
GM or Chrysler, and you would retire and you would live on less. You'd have a lower tax bracket. But now we always reference the pickleball phenomenon on a multi-billion-dollar sport, the fastest growing sport in the world. You know, 70 is the new 40 almost.
It's true.
Right? And you look at that, and I'm probably going to get myself in trouble with my wife, but there is no way I'm going to tell Emily in retirement, well, now we have to spend less. This is when she's going to want to go do everything that we didn't have the time to do with kids and work. And so I think this is one of the biggest myths out there. Inflation is a big piece of it,
Yep.
but we also talk about the phases in retirement in
Oh.
thirds, right? The first one, what do we call it?
Well, that's the go-go year.
The go-go years. You're a honeymoon. You just retired, honeymoon retiree, that is.
Yep.
And you're feeling the best that you are going to feel in that retirement. So you're doing all the things that you could never do.
Right.
Like that movie, The Bucket List.
The bucket
Yes,
list.
that was a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next third, what do we call that one?
Well, that would be the slow go.
Slow
years.
go. We're not getting on as many airplanes. You know,
Right.
grandkids might be coming to see us now.
Yep.
And
Still have
we're
the ability to get around, but not as fast.
right. We won't spend as much money, in my opinion, on the travel and things, but now maybe we start to spend more money on healthcare and things. And then the last third of retirement,
Those are the no-go years.
the last third, you're in and out of appointments and doctors and health issues.
Yep.
So I think a plan really has to absorb all of that. But that is one of the biggest myths, that we're going to retire and spend less.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. No one, everyone wants to thrive. But
Right.
anyway, what about this next one? This is very interesting. Social Security is enough. Why is that scary when you think about it?
Well, Social Security, first of all, the Social Security Administration has already come out and said if they don't do something, they being Congress, about Social Security by the year 2035, which is only 10 years away, which is weird, really weird to think about.
Yes.
They're going to
it
have to
is.
reduce everybody's Social Security by 17%. That's soup to nuts, meaning if you've been on it for 20 years or just getting on it 2 months, you're going to reduce your benefits by 17%.
Wow.
That's number one. So we got a plan for that. Number two, nowadays you cannot live on just Social Security.
Well, it's almost poverty.
It is. It is.
I don't know what
almost poverty.
the actual number, but on the
Yeah.
average, someone is getting $2,000 to
$2,000 a month.
$2,500 a month.
Yep.
I mean, could you live on, even if you have a
No.
married, filing jointly a family, that is very hard in today's now.
It
15
is.
years ago, you could live a decent lifestyle, but not
Yeah.
in today's world.
Well, the
No.
intention was in 1935 when I was talking to FDR.
yeah.
When it started, the idea is that there were 42 people, 42 workers putting in for one person taking out, right?
Right.
So that meant that you had all these people putting into the kitty and one person taking out. Now, what was the average age of
Well,
death?
that's the other thing is this. What a great business proposition back then in 1935. We're going to set up this
Truly.
situation where 42 are putting in, only one pulling out. But wait a minute, we're not going to let them start till they're age 62, and the life expectancy they're going to be dead on average by 64.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
a profitable business
Wow.
venture, right?
Not only that, let's cover the spouse.
Yeah, exactly. Well, fast forward that now, and instead of 42 to 1, what is there right now? Is it 3 to 1?
3 to 1.
And projected to go to 2 to 1. But the bigger issue is, look how many people turned 90 last year compared to babies being born.
Yeah.
So the foundation of Social Security doesn't work in its current form.
Right.
And so they keep kicking the can down the street and trying to figure out what they're going to do with it. And unfortunately, all that money that we've all paid into Social Security is not there. It's been borrowed out by other areas of the government. So it's more of a promise, not an actual, they say, oh, it's the money's in the Social Security trust.
Yeah,
I saw there was that funny movie my kids like, Dumb and Dumber. And
Oh,
at
yeah.
the very end, there's supposed to be a suitcase full of money. And they open it up, and it's a bunch of pieces of paper. And the guy
Right.
says, what are these? And he said, those are just as good as money. Those are IOUs. and essentially, that's what the Social Security Department is saying to all of us. So I think there's going to be a lot of change in that area over the next decade. And 1935, it was great, but the summary is maybe not anymore.
Makes perfect sense. Well, I want to continue on these, but I also want to talk about the importance of getting ripped. Let's talk about the RIP
Yes.
report for a moment.
Yeah, that's our offer today for everyone watching. Call the number, scan the QR code, and come in for 2 meetings out of your life to get your own customized RIP report. What is a RIP report? It's a written financial plan that focuses on 4 areas, RIPT. So the R is risk. What is risk? How fast are you driving your portfolio? How fast or slow do you want to drive it? Let's make sure that those are married up. The I is income. This is a big one. What if I screw up and live too long? Do I have an income plan? Is it an income guess? We also can show you the maximum amount of income you can get out of your portfolio if you do screw up and live too long by using some tools that maybe you don't have access for. The P is the portfolio, the health of the portfolio. Let's put that on the stress test and make sure that you're diversified, that your fee structure isn't too high, and make sure that we're healthy there. And the last is my favorite, taxes. How do we get Uncle Sam out of your pocketbook in retirement? And as we said earlier, we have 4 offices in Metro Detroit, soon to be a 5th. We can accommodate anyone in the metro area.
Jordan, thank you so much. Adam, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, we know that you want to schedule those consultations so that you can get ripped. That number to call is 888-462-7839, 888-462-7839. If you're rushing out the door, we've made it even simpler. Go ahead, grab your smartphone, open up the camera app. You can click on the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. What that will take you to is the actual Maine Financial Group landing page, if you will, and you can schedule your time accordingly. This will be a 2-part process, 2 consultations to make sure that you're ripped for your retirement years. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about some more misconceptions and myths when we return.
I started out actually going to college, and I was going to be a music teacher. I realized very early on, like at the end of my first semester, that it just was not for me. Fast forward many years later, my parents are educators. My dad quit being a teacher and became a real estate and commercial real estate. And after I graduated college, I decided I would go and work for him. And what I really liked was helping people make money. And I realized that that was more my calling than actually selling real estate. So I ended up getting into the financial advising world. It was a big jump, but it was the fact that I was going to be helping people rather than selling people. And that makes a huge difference in my mind. I have enjoyed it tremendously. When you can tell a client, hey, guess what? You can retire. It's one of the best days of my life right there. It's not about my goals. It's not about my office's goals. It's about their goals. It's their money. We need to educate them in order for them to continue to live in a manner of which they become accustomed. Selling is terrible. Educating, getting people to understand why we need to do it this way and consult with them, that's the way to do it.
Welcome back to the Maine Money Show, where Wall Street meets Main Street. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Jordan Maine, president of Maine Financial Group, as well as joined by Adam Freund, CRC at Maine Financial Group. And we're talking all about some retirement myths and misconceptions that you should be aware of. Well, this next one is on top of everyone's mind, but people believe, excuse me, that healthcare will be inexpensive. It'll be cheap. Wow.
Well, they've done a study over the course of retirees, their lifespan when they retire and by the time they pass away. Actually, spending goes down. Spending goes down. You're not traveling as much. You're not doing things as much. But the one area that doesn't go down is healthcare. Healthcare goes up. And it's not just Medicare costs or anything like that. It's also having to do a lot with long-term care.
Yeah, I think there's 3 different, when you say healthcare and retirement, I think there are 3 different types of healthcare and retirement.
Yep.
Number 1 are people that retire under 65. So they have to go purchase their own health insurance because Medicare starts at age 65.
And we all know that's cheap.
Right, and then we have, okay, the people when you're on Medicare, 65 and up, your Medicare premiums are based on your other income. If you don't have a great tax strategy and you're taking on too much taxable income, you're going to pay more in Medicare premiums. And then the third area of healthcare is the long-term care cost, end of life, that is astronomical right now. So the idea is healthcare in various forms, all 3 are expensive if not planned for appropriately.
Okay. Wonderful information that people need to hear. What about when you think about inflation erosion? You kind of alluded to that a little bit, Adam, with that mini $100 bill. Talk about that. People that don't believe that inflation is going to erode their retirement plan.
Well, that's a real issue, right? Because the issue is that if you plan on, well, I'll get by right now on some Social Security and my pension, and I'll let my 401k just ride. And now all of a sudden that pension and Social Security just isn't keeping up with the cost of everything. And now you have to take out of your portfolio, when the market is down, you're now exacerbating the whole situation. You're down 20% and you have to take 4%. And I also know too, wasn't there like this this whole 4% rule type of thing that they used to have?
Oh, yes. It's called the modern portfolio theory, which the years of 2000 to 2010 destroyed it. That was the theory that you could have all your money in stocks and bonds, a mixture, and you could just pull out 4% and you would never run out of money. Well, when you're withdrawing money out of a securities account that's down, you're exponentially depleting it. It's called reverse dollar cost averaging, right? All these high words. But at the end of the day, now the author of that theory basically says it's more like a 2 to 2.5 type of thing that you won't run out. So what we looked at, we actually had 2 different clients or prospects that came in. One of them had $2 million all in securities, no guaranteed income, and said, if I just take 2% out a year, $40,000. I'm not good at math, but I think that's 40,000.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll never run out of money. And I said, okay, you're right. Yeah, the 4% rule is now the 2% rule. We then had another client came in. They were similar ages, similar net worth, had 1 million, so half as much. We were able to use some of our guaranteed tools and generate that client near $80,000 on half as much because it was being more efficient. So the idea of trying to generate income from stocks that go up and down will blow up in the face. We can use guaranteed programs and generate much, much more.
Much better solution.
Yes.
All the way around.
100%.
Now, other people seem to feel that taxes will vanish in retirement. They will vanish.
If we only knew of a tax person that we could talk to here on set. Does anybody know of a tax person here on set? Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, this is a big misconception. So
huge.
So many people don't realize that all the money they take out of their 401ks, their IRAs, is what kind of tax, Adam?
Capital gain.
No,
oh,
ordinary income tax, 100% of everything you put out. So many people think, well, I'm just going to pay tax on the growth I made in the 401k. And even other people think, well, I'm not going to pay any tax. It's all for my retirement. Absolutely incorrect. So your IRAs and 401ks are a tax bomb. Every year you get older and let them grow, add another 0 to them, there's more taxation that you're going to have to pay. And when you get to the ages of 73 and above, you have to start taking money out. Depending on the year you were born, it's a little bit different. But they simply want you to take the money out so that you can claim that income and pay tax on it. And if you haven't developed a strategy, it can blow up in people's faces. So now if you're taking out too much income out of your IRAs, what did we talk about earlier? Your Medicare premiums go through the roof.
Right.
Wow.
So one problem can snowball into the next problem.
Yes.
So it is so key to have a tax plan in place. And wait a minute, don't we have a tool?
I think we actually have a website that people could go to.
Yes, we have a separate great website called maintaxbill.com, and there is a calculator, a tool, whatever you want to call it, that it's free to use. You can use it as much as you want. You simply put in your how much you have in retirement accounts, your age, what you think your tax bracket will be, and what you think you're going to make in a rate of return. And it will give you a report that if you do nothing and keep these retirement accounts through age 95, how much total tax you'll pay based on the tax bracket you put in, or if you convert to a Roth IRA, how much you'll pay, and it'll print you out a report. You can run it over and over with different scenarios. For those of you that have advisors, you can even use this tool with your current advisors. We think it's a tremendous tool.
Absolutely, and it's maintaxbill.com.
It is.
I love it.
maintaxbill.com.
Well, and it's really a difficult subject because so many big box firm advisors aren't allowed to talk about Roths. They either don't have the licenses or their owner doesn't want them to talk about Roth conversions. Because think about it, when you go from an IRA that's pre-tax and you convert to a Roth IRA, you have to pay tax along the way. So that will reduce the account value. That might not be in the best interest of Mr. Big Box Firm owner, right?
True.
And then on the flip side, when you go to a CPA, they're so busy looking in the back in the past doing tax preparation, they don't have time to plan. So we saw a big need of tax planning as part of the retirement. And there are not a lot of firms in Metro Detroit that do this. So we're excited about it. And we said we might as well share this word with the world, or with the state of Michigan at least, and say we created a separate website. Anyone can use it, no cost.
Well, I think we should share it with the world as well as the RIPT report. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, the RIPT report, as we mentioned earlier, come in for 2 meetings for your own customized report. The RIPT, RIPT report we call it. The R is risks. Make sure that you're taking the risk that you want, that you're driving as fast or as slow as you want, and that your portfolio is following these orders. The I is income. Make sure that you have an income plan, not an income guess. And then we can actually show you the most amount of income that you can take out of your portfolio without ever running out of money if you screw up and live too long, using some tools that you might have access to. The P is portfolio health. How do we get that portfolio on the treadmill and make sure it's up to speed? The sectors are right, the fees are low. And then the T, we just alluded to, the taxation. Make sure you have a tax plan in your retirement. Get Uncle Sam out of your pocketbook. As we said, we have 4 offices now in Metro Detroit, soon to be a 5th, so give us a call.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Adam. To our viewers at home, that number to call, 888-462-7839. This is your opportunity to get ripped with 4 locations in the Michigan area, as you know. 5th one is coming. There will be an office that's close to you, we guarantee. Once again, 888-462-7839. Or you can grab your smartphone, click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That takes you right to the landing page of Main Financial Group, and you can schedule your time accordingly. This will be a 2-appointment process so that you get a thorough, detailed ripped report that's going to be customized to your retirement needs. Complimentary, no obligation, completely free. We'll be right back momentarily after this very short commercial break.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
The Main Money Show, where Wall Street meets Main Street. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Jordan Main and Adam Freund of Main Financial Group. We're talking all about some retirement misconceptions and myths. Thank you for being with us today. Well, this next one is really interesting to me. Housing decisions in retirement. Let's talk a little bit about that. Why is that a big deal? Some people think that they have to make a few moves.
Why do you think it's important to her? What does she do something about housing?
For those of you that don't know, Cynthia is one of the most successful realtors in the state of North Carolina.
That's
so she
right.
might know maybe a little
you.
more about this topic than us, but we could take a stab at it for sure. You know, I think it's a huge decision, especially here in Michigan. Most people retire to or leave, they call us snowbirds,
Right.
Okay.
to a warmer climate, either out to Arizona or down to Florida. And there's always this juggle of decision. Should I change my residency?
Yes.
So what are the pros and cons to that? So in the state of Michigan here, we have a state income tax of 4.25. Florida doesn't have any state income tax.
That looks appealing.
But wait a minute, there's this little thing about homestead property taxes, Adam. You know anything about that?
Yeah, actually I do.
And the idea is if we go to Florida and become a resident, yeah, we save that 4.25 state tax,
Right.
but now our Michigan home becomes non-homesteaded.
Yeah.
And the property taxes go up significantly. So each case is different. You've got to analyze the property taxes in Florida, both homestead and non-homestead, and then analyze the property tax in Michigan, homestead, non-homestead, and then look at your income tax in Michigan versus none. But it's a big discussion, a great topic.
Well, I
Yes,
also
it
think you
is.
got to look at the insurance cost down in Florida as well because of
Right, all the
way-
hurricanes,
all the hurricanes,
right.
everything. We don't get hurricanes in Michigan, thank goodness.
That is a great thing.
Yeah, and what are you seeing that too? The North Carolina has personal taxes, right?
It does actually.
taxes.
Yep, we have
Yeah.
state taxes. I'm getting choked up thinking about it,
yeah,
actually.
I'm sorry. But
No, it's okay.
I think that it's important to rent first
Yeah,
in your
Excellent
second
point.
location.
excellent
Yes.
point.
So many people in Michigan just rush to buy something in a particular area.
Yes.
Maybe they have a couple of friends there. I say take 3 or 4 or 5 years and just rent for that January to April or maybe October to April or March, whatever,
Right.
and try different areas.
Yeah.
There are so many different places in Florida and the Carolinas and
Yes.
the Alabama Gulf Shores and out west. A lot of people are retiring now to Tennessee, you know.
Yeah.
So I think don't rush into anything. Rent and then decide if you're going to buy.
And I love that you just said that, because I recommend that all the time to clients that are coming in from a different state, different area. It's perfect. Then you can get a lay of the land and really pinpoint where you want to be. But also, let's just jump into the next myth if we could. People are hearing or seeing on TV that they haven't saved enough for retirement. They feel, I haven't saved enough.
Yeah, this is something that kind of sticks in my craw, because I've heard that too. In fact, I was listening to, well, we won't use her real name. It was Muzi Orman.
Ah.
Muzi.
Yeah.
And she was wearing her lab coat.
Great name.
Great name. And a caller called into her radio show and said, well, I've saved up $1 million. My husband passed away. I inherited his $1 million. And she immediately interrupted her and said, oh, you don't have enough. You haven't saved enough. Well, how does she know this?
Wow.
You have to
Right?
meet with the people. What are their expenses? What is it, taxable $1 million?
Well, this is the thing. This Muzi person that we
Muzi.
refer to doesn't hold any licenses.
That's true.
And you can't make a blanket statement without that. Every person's situation is unique. Everyone has different income requirements. They have different tax scenarios. They have
True.
different family scenarios. They have different lifestyles.
Yes.
So to randomly say you have $1 million and you don't have enough is ridiculous.
ridiculous.
It depends on where you live, rural, urban.
Absolutely.
There are so many
There's
things that go into that.
variables, and it just really bothered me, which is a proof that you need to get into seeing somebody that's a fiduciary.
Yeah, that's why it's so important to have a written financial plan for
There
all
you
this,
go.
so that when an event like that happens, in your example, where someone passes away, we've already got a plan, a roadmap that takes into account all of these things.
I think you should talk about the
Oh.
ripped report, Jordan, because look,
Well-
Adam's doing such a beautiful job with demonstrating.
I know. He reminds me of Vanna White sometimes, but just not enough hair. Our offer today for everyone watching is to come into one of our 4 offices, soon to be 5 around Metro Detroit: Brighton, Livonia, Northville, Bloomfield Hills, Troy, and soon to be Rochester Hills. Come in for 2 meetings, get your own customized RIP report. This is a written financial plan just for you that specializes in 4 areas. The R is risk. How fast do you want to drive, or how slow do you want to drive your portfolio? But then, is your portfolio driving that speed? The I is a income plan. Do you have an income plan or an income guess? We can show you how to maximize that. The P is portfolio. Make sure you have a healthy portfolio. And the T, we just talked about, taxes. Get Uncle Sam out of your retirement.
Jordan, thank you so much. Adam, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, the number to call, 888-462-7839, 888-462-7839. We look forward to seeing you back 1 week from today on The Maine Money Show. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed.